Well, hello again. Um, I'm beginning to restore some of my weather stripping and pieces of trim on my EXP because this is aluminum and it's all supposed to be a semi-gloss black or satin black. But over time, as arms sit on this, it rubs the paint away, and as it bakes in the sun, the paint will fade away. So I gotta pull that off so I can get it repainted. And to get it repainted, I have to pull the weather stripping off it. And the only way to replace the weather stripping on this is to pull this entire trim piece out of the car. I'll show you that in just a second here. But I had just removed the first few inches of the rubber weather stripping from the piece of trim, and it was a pain. You can see that there's held in here by what looks like staples. Whether or not that's the technical term for them, that's pretty much what they are. They're just really heavy gauge staple. They're so big. It took forever to pry them apart. And you need to keep them because until I figure out a different way to secure this, that is the only way to mount your weather stripping onto your pieces of trim on the doors. These guys are important if you're pulling off the weather stripping because it sits in the sun, it bakes, and it gets brittle, and as it gets brittle it cracks, and as it cracks it breaks away. That's why I got chunks missing on each end. But pressed into that rubber weather stripping are these clips. These clips help hold the entire thing to your car's door. So, I don't think they're replaceable, and if they are, I imagine that they require some retrofitting to make them work. But with these guys, it only takes a few seconds to take your screwdriver, put them down behind there. You can see where mine left some indentations on the rubber. You put your screwdriver down in there, twist it each direction to pop these tangs out from inside that rubber, and that's where they penetrate. So save these. There will be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, just 4 of them on each trim piece. So that's not too many to do. This was the easiest part of the whole deal, between removing this guy and then trying to get this darn weather stripping off it. But anyways, yeah, it's held in by staples, and I found that the best way, only way to remove them so they're reusable is to use some side cutter pliers. Pinch one side, bend it up, pinch the other side, bend it up some, and then bend them both until they're perfectly perpendicular, sticking straight through the aluminum trim piece. So then you can take your screwdriver again, put it between the two pieces, turn it one direction or the other until all the staples pop out. And then it's the same procedure for the back. You stick your screwdriver in the back of these, twist it both directions until it pops out. So, I'll set this off to the side, and I'll show you how to remove it from the car. Alright. So removing it from the car isn't too bad. Again, the hardest thing is easily removing those godforsaken staples. But on your EXP or LN7, it doesn't matter whether it's first gen or second gen, they're all going to be like this. This is where your trim piece goes. And it sits flush on the top of your door. And the trim piece has a few holes. It's got a hole here. It's got a hole here. Probably can't see that, but there is a hole there. And you got one last one there that you can barely see. And then what goes through those are your average interior panel or trim piece screw. So it'll have a flat head, flat shoulders, rounded top head. Let's see here. So they'll look like this guy. This is the profile. They're about that long. The thread pitch and diameter are all about the same. They're just a little on the big side as far as the head is. And they'll all be painted black. Keep track of them. So like I said, one will go into here. And they're all Phillips. So you just run a Phillips screwdriver through each of these access holes. Like I said, there's one here to go through that hole in the trim to go into that threaded part of the door. And then over here, the same story, you got an access hole there. And then way back in here, you have a little bit of room in this access hole here to pull out 3 screws. To pull this guy out, you do not need to remove the window channel, but you do need to remove the door panel. Your door panel has to go so you can access those access ports. And once you access those access ports, only then can you pull off your side trim. And once you do, the stuff comes out pretty good. Like I said, it'll be sitting in there. So the top side is flush to the top surface of your door. So once you pull out all 3 screws, do not miss any screws or you will bend this. You will bend this really easily because it is aluminum. But once you get all 1, 2, and 3 screws out of this, you can take a plastic pry bar in between the piece of trim and the door. You can put a plastic pry bar between those and slowly work this guy out, up and out. You'll need to start by the door handle and work your way to the mirror. And it'll only work out that way. And as you're doing it, make sure that you don't pry too far up on it, or this end back here will curve up too high and you'll need to straighten it back to where it should be. So don't go too far with this. It's real easy to do with this being aluminum. So anyways, yeah, you start from the door handle, go to the mirror. Once you have all these clips plonked off, just slowly tilt it up from this side while raising this side some. And then slide the whole thing out towards the back window. And then you can take it and do whatever you need to do to it from there. And then you have removed it. I'm not aware of any companies yet that make these. I haven't researched these. But that's the profile. It's felted on the inside, and it's just normal rubber on the outside. That's what the profile is. I'll try to get some measurements. We'll maybe stick that on the thumbnail that the video will find out. We'll do something. But it is lined with metal. You need that. If it's not lined with metal, it's not going to do anything for you. It's just going to fall apart. It needs to be lined with metal. And that's something you need to be aware of, whether you're replacing yours or not. If you're still wearing the original one, it's most likely rusting underneath your rubber. So if there's a little bit of brown in this channel, this guy's rusting away on you. Keep an eye on it. So, that's about all. Again, if you take it off with some decent care, you won't bend it, you won't twist or anything. Usually they fill it with dents This one's covered with dents and it's got one heck of a damage right there, so I'm going to take out a hammer, fix that up, and then I'll fill in the rest with solder, sand it, prime it, paint it, and I'll get back to you guys on how that repair turns out. So thanks again, catch you later.